All right. I am Krista, and Lateran isn't feeling well today, so she asked me to cover for her. So I apologize for the sudden change of topics, but she's going to come back and do rose oil when she's feeling a little bit better. And so anyways, today I am going to be talking about Digestzen, Terrazyme, and lemon. So if you were on the training that I did a few weeks ago, we did gut health, and these three products are probably ones that I talk most about and know most about. But by a show of hands, who here has Digestzen in your house? Yes. Is it magic or in a bottle or what? So let me tell you a little bit about Digestzen. I'll tell you some ways of how you can use it, and then also maybe even a little bonus of a way that you can use it that you might not have thought about. So for me, Digestzen definitely came at a time in my life when I was like desperate for any sort of tummy help. And the simplicity of just being able to drip, 1 or 2 drops right on my stomach and rub it in, and then have literally almost immediate relief from whatever I might have been struggling with at the time was pretty profound for me at the time. And so as with most of us who have spouses that think that we're a little bit crazy when we start using oils, mine was no different. And he saw me kind of like bringing these things home and getting my packages once a month and, being all excited about, what I was getting and all of that stuff. And basically it took him probably 6 months before he finally came around. But Digestzen was his gateway oil. It was very much the one that finally brought him on board. His story is that we've got a local wing restaurant. Maybe you guys have a Buffalo Wild Wings. We've got that here. And he likes to go there every once in a while, and he really, really loves super spicy food. And so he would go there and get like the wing platter of the spiciest wings that they make. And then, struggle through getting them down and just loving it and everything else. And then 8 hours later, he was back and forth to the bathroom because of just upset tummy. And so anyways, one day he does this, and then the evening time comes around and he's struggling. And so I reached over on my little side table next to the couch, and I grabbed my Digestzen, because I always kept a bottle right there next to me, so that, because you just never know. And I handed it to him, and I said, here, just drop a couple of drops of this on your stomach where it hurts and rub it in, and just try it. And he kind of rolls his eyes at me, and he's like, fine, okay. But he was just sort of desperate for something. And so he did that, and in just a matter of moments, his discomfort subsided. He no longer felt the need to run back to the bathroom, and suddenly he was totally a believer. So it is absolutely, by and large, the most amazing product for anything to do with tummy, and in his case, self-induced, right? So it's amazing for that. The little bonus that I wanted to share with you about Digestzen is that if you struggle with any sort of respiratory issue, Digestzen is actually really, really remarkable in opening airways, helping to fight seasonal things that kind of come around and bring relief in those ways as well. So ironically, my non-believer husband who used Digestzen as his gateway oil was who actually shared that little nugget with me that he discovered on his own when he didn't have Breathe. So he's like, well, I mean, Digestzen has peppermint in it. Maybe that'll be good enough. And so sure enough, it actually helped to help him with that. So one other thing that I wanted to share with you about Digestzen that I thought was really, really awesome is, and I'm just going to apologize in advance, you guys. This is not going to be compliant, and I'm not really sure how to even say it without it being compliant. So anyways, forgive me, but my daughter, who is now 14, was diagnosed with abdominal migraines 2 years ago. I did medical transcription for 13 years and I never, ever, ever heard that term. So to me, I was like, what on earth? So basically, if you're familiar with head migraines, it's basically the same thing, only it happens in your belly. So it's very, very painful. It causes nausea and vomiting and all of those things too. It's just really, really uncomfortable. And so anyway, at the time, she is my softball kid. So if you are friends with me on Facebook and you see me posting like incessantly about travel softball, she and my younger daughter are who are the culprits of all of that and source of all of that. So, so that season, you know, she was playing on she plays on it all the time, but that particular season she was playing on a competitive team that we actually attended 10 different tournaments over the course of a 3-month span and played 60 softball games through the course of that same span. Okay, so a lot of games, a lot of playing, and she is a pitcher and a second baseman. So an infielder, you can imagine, she's not going to be able to tolerate some of the side effects, which were dizziness, lightheadedness, things like that, that came with the medication that the physician actually wanted to prescribe her, which was an antispasmodic. So I started doing a little bit of research like I do, and discovered that through my Modern Essentials book and app, I was able to identify that nearly every single oil that's in the Digestzen blend also has antispasmodic properties. So we began utilizing the soft gels for her as soon as she would feel one of these migraines coming on, these abdominal migraines. And so what we also discovered was that not only were they able to kind of just support her body to give it what it needed to help to prevent it from turning into a full-blown attack, but it even for a period of time, especially during that summer, she started taking them somewhat preventatively and just started using them almost all the time. And so when the Digest tabs came out, she shifted it to using those instead because she likes the way they taste. The beauty of it is, and I don't know if you guys know this, but there is actually 200 milligrams of calcium in the Digest tabs. So if you're looking for a simple calcium supplement, then that's something that you can utilize as well. So it makes it really, really handy to do that. So anyway, Digestzen in all its many variations is absolutely a godsend in our house. So let's see, Amanda, do you know how the calcium is sourced? I don't. It's definitely something I think we should totally find out. I feel like I trust the sourcing of doTERRA so much that I am certain that they are giving us a quality product that's definitely going to do what we need it to do. For my needs and for the needs of my family, these products have been a total game changer. So because we're sort of on a Digestzen mission today, I want to bring up Terrazyme. If you've ever attended a Boyd Truman class, then you know that Terrazyme is like the end-all be-all thing that you need more than anything else in the world. In fact, according to him, Terrazyme and lemon are really probably the greatest things since sliced bread. So the cool thing about Terrazyme is, if you're not sure what it is, it's a digestive enzyme. So what that actually means is that if you eat something that maybe you know that your body struggles with, or maybe you don't know, then the digestive enzymes will actually help to digest that food for you so that your body doesn't have to go to so much work to get that done. So in my case, gluten is definitely something that I know my body struggles with. I know that I shouldn't consume it at all. And I know that I am weak and that I really, really like bread. And that sometimes I get into situations where maybe I consume too much of it or something like that. Pasta, I think, is something for me that I really do just need to stick to the gluten-free types of pasta. For some reason, it affects me a little more harshly than just plain like wheat bread or anything like that. And so But just for my own sake, because I know my body struggles, I will take a Terrazyme pretty much with every meal that I consume gluten in, or a bread of some sort. This is, for me, it's one that I sort of mix and match. It's not necessarily I take it at every meal no matter what. If I know that I'm going to struggle or I'm going to consume something that I struggle with, then I'll use it. If I'm not, then I don't as much, because I eat a lot of vegetables and I know that there's good digestive enzymes that are coming in my vegetables. If you're someone and maybe you're just not sure if you need the extra help or not, and you would rather just err on the side of caution, then I highly encourage you to go ahead and go ahead and take one with every meal. The other beauty about Terrazyme is that it's really, really excellent to take on an empty stomach, maybe right before you go to bed, okay? So we all know that sleep is the perfect time where your body is doing its repair and kind of rejuvenating thing. And so, you know, getting adequate sleep is very, very important to allow it the time to be able to do that. But the cool thing about Terrazyme is that when it's taken on an empty stomach, it actually sort of converts as to it like a protein in our system, where it sort of goes out and seeks the little trouble spots that we might be having in our body, and it helps to sort of rebuild those like Legos and like strengthen those little spots up. So it's really, really cool to be able to utilize it in that way, so that we get basically the very best support that we can get from an itty bitty little pill in a bottle, right? So Terrazyme is just really, really awesome. So I would like to pause for just a second and give you guys an opportunity to share a little bit about maybe a story or an experience that you've had from either of these two products so far, the oil or the Terrazyme. Anybody?
Yes, this is Iris. And I started taking Terrazyme because of my skin sensitivity to the oils. That was something that a friend of ours, Elizabeth, said that Cresta says you should do this. So I still take 6 tablets a day. Can I take more?
According to Boyd, I really think you can take as much as your body needs. I think that it's important to really pay attention to what your individual needs are. I feel like the beauty about the oils is that you really can't mess it up. But I think that people, we are sort of trained into thinking everything needs to have a very regimented recipe and a protocol and all of those things. But the beauty of this is it's almost as if it sort of forces us outside of that box. You know, it gives us an opportunity to think, okay, well, wait a second. You know, I see that Iris is taking 6 a day. Maybe I need to take 6 a day. And then you try it and you're like, okay, well, gosh, you know, I don't really feel a difference from that extra 2 that I'm taking at the end of the day or whatever. Maybe I just need to go ahead and back that back down. And so it's sort of like a trial and error process, but it's also understanding that each one of us individually is going to have very different needs from one person to the next, and that we don't fit inside someone else's box, and that's okay. So I feel like, Iris, to answer your question, if you feel like your body needs more than 6, try it for a little while. See what happens. The beauty of it is it's not going to hurt you. You know, right. I don't think that you can consume too much of this. If you find benefit from increasing that, then you know that for you and your individual needs, that's just what's best for you. But, you know, I like to keep all of those sorts of things open-ended because, you know, someone else might try that. Sort of an LLV story for you is similar in that when I started LLV, I just blasted full dose, 4 of each of those pills, and I loved it. Like, it was super fantastic. After a year of doing that, I backed it down to a half dose and started recognizing, okay, well, I don't feel quite as good. So I bumped it back up to a full dose and felt great again. And then I backed it down to just 3 of each of them a day and noticed that I didn't notice a detrimental change. And so for me and my body and what I need, I feel like I can get the exact same bonus of taking a full dose with only taking a 3/4 dose, and I'm good. So it's good to kind of like evaluate that a little bit.
Right.
And see.
Well, I love the Terrazyme and PB Assist combination.
Yes.
I think the GX Assist is even helping me take it almost regularly because I have some issues otherwise.
Yeah.
So those are wonderful. The Digestzen I use a lot on my nose. So I love them all.
Awesome. I love it too. That's great.
Iris, have you ever done muscle testing or any type of applied kinesiology? Like, are you familiar with the concept?
Yes, I am. And yes, I have.
Test and see how many tabs you should be taking a day and say, my body needs more than 5, my body needs more than 10, and then, you know, give it chunks and then back down from there or go up from there.
That is wonderful, Amanda. I've never even thought about that.
That's how our energy therapist here in Lincoln will test things for how much of something we need. So it just kind of got locked in here along the way.
Yeah. I'm going to have to come see that energy doctor.
She's amazing. Her name's Glenda, and you guys would love her. She's awesome.
I think that's an excellent point. And the other thing, too, is to kind of go back to what we had originally started talking about, is to also understand that, especially as women, you know, our bodies are literally changing on a daily basis, whether it's hormone-induced or whatever the case is, mood-induced. And so muscle testing on even a daily basis for different things might actually be really, really handy, because you may be in a season of the year or of your life where maybe today you need 8 pills, or maybe tomorrow you only need 4. You know what I mean? Like, it could be definitely based on, number one, the foods you're eating, how you're feeling, where you are in your cycle, and all of that. Even though I've had a hysterectomy, I still cycle. We all still cycle. And so it's definitely important to know that we're going to be changing all the time. And I think that when you kind of approach it from the standpoint of, well, how can I make this into like a regimented plan? It's like you're trying to force yourself into that box we talked about before. And you don't, you know, when you can kind of escape that, then true freedom, right? Like, holy smokes. Then we're back to being roaming again. Right? So awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. All right, so our next oil is lemon, and this one, you guys, I mean, from a cleansing standpoint, a gut health standpoint, I mean, it's just so simple. It's just so simple. You know, you've got your water bottle, glass or stainless steel if you're going to use the oils, especially citrus. And people kind of wonder, like, I know that when I go to classes and tell them that, you know, their first initial response is, well, why? Like, what's the big deal? And I've done like the styrofoam. You get a little piece of like styrofoam and you pour a drop of lemon on there, and you get the people who are freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, what's that doing to my insides if that's doing that to the styrofoam? And I always tell them, I says, well, if you're made of plastic, it's going to completely disintegrate your entire body. And then they look at me like, oh my gosh, did you just say that? And I'm like, well, you're not made of plastic, right? It's going to get rid of the junk that's inside your body and help you to, you know, get rid of it. Okay. So, so lemon is an amazing cleanser. The other citrus oils are equally as amazing. And so in our water, if we're using it for gut health, it makes it nice that we can switch them out every so often just for variety. But I generally drink out of like a 32 ounce, like a quart jar. And I'll usually only do like 1 or 2 drops. I feel like that's enough. I'll swish it around with like a, you know, just my finger or a straw or, you know, whatever, just to sort of get it down, sort of dissipated. And it doesn't dissipate. It doesn't like dissolve, you know, it'll float on the top. The other thing is, like, for example, as a comparison, cinnamon oil, if you've ever used that in your water, it sinks. It doesn't float on the top. It's the little droplet will actually sink to the bottom. And so if you swish it or shake it or do something like that, then it really does actually taste as though it does dissolve in the water and sort of dissipates throughout it. So then it gives it that cinnamony flavor from start to finish. Whereas with the lemon oil, it does actually sort of be a little more lemony in the beginning. And then, you know, if you feel like you need to add another drop halfway through, then by all means, feel free to do that. Another thing that you can do, and this is sort of a, I don't know, maybe some people like to do it and some people don't, sort of a strategy, but I've actually just put it right under my tongue and then I'll take a drink of water. So if you don't necessarily want it in your water all day long, then that's an option as well. The only thing that I have experienced both personally and from others is that if you do that on a sort of continuous basis, it does sort of make your tongue feel a little bit raw after a while. And so I think that, like Iris was saying, it's just a little bit of those sensitivities that we figure that we have. And so one tip with that, if that's your preferred method of taking it, is to maybe wait until the bottle gets about halfway down and then refill it with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil. Get that good and shaken up, and then you're putting it in your, under your tongue or on your tongue. The beauty of that is because the fractionated coconut oil is so healing by itself. It's got so many amazing benefits too, that you could use that as like a throat coat sort of a thing if you had a little tickle. If you're getting ready for some sort of a speaking engagement and you get sort of like, that tickle or whatever, then that's a great way. My daughter sings, so that's something that she'll do is she'll put a little bit of it in her mouth just to coat that throat. It's almost like putting lotion on inside, right? And so, but that's a great way of being able to do that. The other thing, though, back to what we were talking about, it's cleansing. So it's allowing our cells to open up and let go of maybe some toxins that they're kind of holding on to, and those sorts of things. So what are you guys' experiences with lemon? Anybody?
I mean, we use lemon every day around here. Almost everybody in our family. We have 7 children. So I would say probably around like the 7-year-old, she does like it. The 10-year-old doesn't. The 12-year-old loves it. And the 13-year-old loves it. And then my husband and I do it every day too. I find that when I use the lemon oil, if I'm just feeling like a little sluggish, just a little bit like under the weather, a little bit, just things aren't moving like they should from either a brain or gut perspective or both, since they're connected.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure.
A drop of lemon in my water in the afternoon will just get me perked right back up and back to doing what I need to do to manage a house of 9 people.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So you're touching on even like from a mood perspective, it's all connected. Like you're saying, all of it is connected, mood and gut and wellness and everything. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, if my gut is feeling sluggish, then my brain is going to feel sluggish. And if my whole body is just kind of feeling blah, I mean, it does affect your mood. It'd be a lot easier just to sit around and not do anything.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that.
I cannot drink it because of the skin sensitivities. And so I kind of miss my lemon. And maybe it'd be good with the FCO. I'd never thought about that, but I will try it.
Yeah, and I think that the other dynamic, like we said, where it's sort of like the lotion and it does float on the top, with the FCO, it would still do that, you know what I mean? But if you're giving it like a little swish or whatever, it's going to get on your lips like a chapstick, so to speak. The only thing, though, is you got to be careful to go outside. So if you're going to be sipping it that way and then you go spend some time in the sun, your lips are already going to be more tender than the rest of your skin. So you don't want to get photosensitivity or an unnecessary sunburn because of lemon oil on your lips, of all things. So definitely want to use some caution regarding that. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I think it's really, really great. From an additional sort of a cleansing perspective, I actually have a spray bottle that's 50-50 vinegar, just white vinegar and water. And I put, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 drops of lemon essential oil in it. I use it as window cleaner. I use it to disinfect my countertops. I use it to spray inside my kids' stinky shoes. And so like there's a lot of different uses there. When you consider that this is probably one of the least expensive bottles of oil that we carry, and being able to create a spray like that that's so multi-purpose, that literally probably costs less than 20 cents to make, You know, that is some cost-effective ways of being able to utilize what we have, you know, and save tons of money. So why not? You know, that's kind of how I figure, but I like it. And it's just a very versatile, multi-purpose product. All of our oils really can be. And so it makes it kind of nice to be able to break it down like that. So that's all I have for you guys. Do you have any questions or anything you want to talk about before we wrap it up? All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And to all of you who are going to be watching the recording later, I hope you have an amazing time. And if you have questions, please just feel free to post them in the comments below and tag me if you need my specific help, and I'll be sure to come right back and help you through stuff. So, all right. Thanks, you guys. Let's stop the recording.